Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Archana Solanki. Here are the headlines we're tracking this evening. Sensex and Nifty end in the green for the 7th straight session, but the gains are limited. This is the longest winning streak in the last 5 months. Rupee hits a record low against the dollar as it moves closer to the 89 mark. Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal says the first tranche of the India-United States trade deal should be finalized by November, adds both sides are satisfied with the progress on talks. Top officials from the European Union set to arrive in India to wrap up negotiations for a free trade deal. Reuters reports the European Union is unlikely to impose 100% tariffs on India and China proposed by US President Trump to pressure Russia to end the Ukraine war. India's leading automakers brace for festive boost on the back of mega GST cuts. Maruti Suzuki highlights a 15% surge in customer inquiries since the announcement. M&M says they are taking steps to ensure that dealers have enough stock. Hyundai is upbeat about the GST cuts, bringing in many more first-time buyers.
सोशल मीडिया का जो कैंपेन था वो पेड कैंपेन था, वो अगेंस्ट इथेनॉल था और पॉलिटिकली टारगेट मुझे करने के लिए था.
Road Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari defends the decision to mix 20% ethanol with petrol, claims there was a paid political campaign against him, which has proven false after Supreme Court rejected petitions against E20 fuel. Tega Industry is set to acquire US-based mining equipment maker Molycorp for $1.5 billion. Tega will acquire 77% stake and Apollo Global will pitch in for a 23% stake. The deal is likely to help Tega's revenues grow 9-fold, but also add $1 billion in debt. ChatGPT maker OpenAI signs a $300 billion deal to buy computing power from Oracle for 5 years in one of the largest cloud contracts ever signed, according to the Wall Street Journal. Oracle shares soar, making Larry Ellison the richest man in the world for a brief period. Nepal simmers days after an anti-corruption stir led by Gen Zs toppled the government. Prohibitory orders and curfews continue across the country. Close to 15,000 inmates reportedly flee from various prisons, several names doing the rounds on who should head the interim government. United Nations Security Council set to hold an emergency meeting after Russian drones violate Poland's airspace. This is the first major incursion on a NATO country. Poland plans to impose a no-fly zone. Charlier Kirk, a conservative commentator and an ally of US President Trump, shot dead while speaking to students at a university. The manhunt for the killer continues. Trump calls it a dark moment for America. All right, let's start with the day's market action. Sensex and Nifty gained for the 7th straight day, hitting the highest level in 3 weeks. This is the longest winning streak in the last 5 months. But the gains were limited and the mid-cap index barely managed to end in the green. The Indian rupee plunged to a new record low against the dollar. Now, one US dollar now costs more than 88 rupees. In fact, the rupee is moving closer to the 89 mark against the greenback. 10-year bonds remain largely steady and the yields softened marginally in trade today. And now to the latest in the India-US trade negotiations. Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal says the first tranche of the trade deal should be finalized by November this year. Addressing a press conference in Bihar, Goyal added that discussions have been going on since March and both the countries are satisfied with the progress made so far. Now, this comes a day after Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Donald Trump exchanged conciliatory messages amid the tariff standoff.
फरवरी 2025 में माननीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी और राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप जी ने मिलकर हमें निर्देश दिया था कि दोनों पक्ष के मंत्री फॉल 2025 यानी नवंबर 2025 तक एक अच्छा करार करें. उस करार का पहला अंश फर्स्ट ट्रांच नवंबर 2025 तक फाइनल करें और लगभग मार्च से इस विषय पर बड़ी गंभीरता से बड़े अच्छे वातावरण में बातचीत चल रही है, प्रगति हो रही है और प्रगति से दोनों देश संतुष्ट हैं.
The European Union may refrain from imposing tariffs on India and China for buying Russian oil despite US President Trump's request. As per a Reuters report, EU imposes tariffs only after conducting a detailed investigation to establish a legally sound justification. The EU bloc has only imposed tariffs on Russian fertilizer and farm products in the context of the Ukraine war. Now, Trump's request to EU came at a time where the bloc is nearing the finalization of a trade deal with India. Now, top EU officials are set to arrive in India this week. India's top automobile companies held their annual convention in Delhi today. Union Road Transport Minister Gadkari inaugurated the event. Now, automakers are hoping for a boost in demand after the recent GST cuts. Minister Gadkari said he has requested the Finance Minister to provide concessions for those scrapping their old vehicle and buying a new one. Gadkari also defended the decision to mix 20% ethanol with petrol. He claimed there was a paid political campaign against him, which has proven false after the Supreme Court rejected petitions against E20 fuel.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट में भी इसके बारे में बहुत साफ निर्णय हुआ है. अब जैसे आपकी इंडस्ट्री है वैसे हमारा पॉलिटिक्स भी है. तो ये सोशल मीडिया का जो कैंपेन था वो पेड कैंपेन था. वो अगेंस्ट इथेनॉल था और पॉलिटिकली टारगेट मुझे करने के लिए था. तो मैं इतना ही कहूंगा कि वो जो कुछ था उसमें कोई तथ्य नहीं था. सब बातें क्लियर हुई है. परसों मैंने प्रधानमंत्री जी को भी रिक्वेस्ट की, फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर को भी कही है कि स्क्रैपिंग को बढ़ाने के लिए जो गाड़ी स्क्रैप करेंगे और नई गाड़ी लेंगे उसमें कुछ जीएसटी के बारे में हम सोच सकते, तो विचार करिए. ये भी बात हमने वित्त मंत्री के सामने रखी है. मैं आप लोगों को भी रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि जो नई गाड़ी खरीदी करेगा स्क्रैपिंग सर्टिफिकेट देकर, उसको अगर कुछ अच्छा डिस्काउंट अगर आपके पास वो आता है और ऑफर करेंगे रिजनेबली अच्छा, तो इससे बहुत विन विन सिचुएशन है.
India's leading automakers are bracing for a festive boost on the back of the mega GST cuts. Maruti Suzuki has recorded a 15% surge in customer inquiries since the announcement. M&M has said they are taking steps to ensure that dealers have enough stock. Meanwhile, Hyundai is upbeat about the GST cuts, bringing in many first-time buyers.
I think this is a very big reform which is happening from 22nd of September. It is not only kickstart the auto industry, but across all other industries also. Everybody is going to benefit, and the common man is going to be a big beneficiary. On the top of it, I think the two more things I would like to bring in the knowledge is, one, the benefit which was passed on through the income tax by the Honorable Finance Minister, and also I think the RBI Governor has done a very good job in terms of reducing the repo rates. So I think it's a combination now of the GST, then the benefit which is passed on through the income tax, and third is the repo rate. So I think it's going to be a bumper sales in this festival time.
I believe with the 10% cut in the smaller cars, it will bring in so many new customers. The first-time buyers, which Hyundai anyway is seeing a big jump. First-time buyers in 2020 used to be about 31%. Now they are at 39.5%. I believe we have a potential to go up to maybe 42, 43% in first-time buyers. So more small car selling. The second thing I think which will be much more significant is, if you see the customer affordability remains the same in terms of how much he can spend. However, the car becomes cheaper, which means its initial signs, maybe the customers will now again go back to the higher trims, because last 1 year we are seeing that customers were moving down from higher trims to middle trims to lower trim. But now there's an opportunity, because India is a very, very aspirational country.
Until 22nd, we're going to be cautious on the front.
Right. So is this going to restrict the amount of inventory you'll be able to put into system?
No, so we have taken steps to ensure that we'll still be able to meet the festive demand. So there are a few steps we are taking on the front as well. So you'll see that as it plays out. It's like I said, it's not an easy puzzle to solve for, but that's what we are here.
A quick look at more headlines. Tega Industries has signed a term sheet to buy US-based mining equipment maker Molycorp. According to the exchange filing, the deal is valued at $1.5 billion and will be executed via a special purpose vehicle formed by Tega and Apollo funds. Tega Industries will become the controlling shareholder with 77% stake, and Apollo Global will hold 23% stake. The deal is scheduled to be completed by the end of 2025. Kotak Mahindra Bank ended in the red after a big block deal. Japan's Sumitomo Mitsui Bank has sold 1.62% stake in the firm at 1,940 rupees a share. The block deal was worth a little over 6,250 crore rupees. The deal drew participation from leading global and domestic institutional investors, including Abu Dhabi Investment Authority and BlackRock. Private equity player GTCR has agreed to acquire Czech generic drug makers Tega from Advent International in a $4.8 billion deal. Bloomberg reported that the transaction has been finalized and is expected to be announced in the coming days. The company manufactures a wide portfolio of generic and over-the-counter medicines. Shares of Aurobindo Pharma jumped over 5%. The Economic Times reported last month that the Indian drug maker was leading the race to buy Zentiva for $5.5 billion. Now, Amazon has rolled out Amazon Now, its 10-minute delivery service for everyday essentials in select areas of Mumbai. Now, this follows a successful launch earlier this year in Bengaluru and Delhi. Amazon India VP Samir Kumar said more than 100 micro-fulfillment centers have been set up across 3 cities to enable ultra-fast deliveries, and hundreds more may be added by the end of 2025. Now, Oracle's shares rallied a whopping 36% to post its best day since 1992, adding $244 billion to its market cap. The big move came after ChatGPT maker OpenAI said that it had signed a $300 billion deal to buy computing power from Oracle for 5 years. This is one of the largest cloud contracts ever signed, according to the Wall Street Journal. Rachna Dhanrajani is here with the details. Rachna.
Right, $300 billion, that is the historic figure reported by the Wall Street Journal for OpenAI's cloud deal with Oracle, making it one of the largest contracts ever in the tech industry. Starting in 2027, OpenAI will spend about $60 billion a year for 5 years to secure 4.5 gigawatts of new data center capacity under Project Stargate. To put it in perspective, that much energy is enough to power more than 4 million homes. So the $300 billion, the number seems to be a part of a much larger surge in Oracle's cloud backlog. CEO Safra Katz told analysts in the call that the company's remaining performance obligations, or the RPOs, have now risen to $455 billion. She explained that this growth comes from contracts with companies including OpenAI, xAI, Meta, Nvidia, AMD, and others. She also said that this surge allows Oracle to raise its cloud infrastructure targets, projecting revenue to grow from $18 billion this year to $144 billion over the next 4 years. Oracle stock has surged, and Larry Ellison's long bet on cloud now places the company alongside Amazon, Microsoft, and Google in the AI infrastructure race. For OpenAI, this deal is ambitious and carries risk. Current revenue of the company is between $12 to $13 billion, which is just a fraction of the annual commitment they've made to Oracle. And this is after relying heavily on Microsoft's Azure. OpenAI is now spreading workloads across both Azure and Oracle, and hence formalizing a multi-cloud strategy. This deal shows how AI is changing the rules. Compute power has become the new currency, but building a data center on this scale carries financial risk, environmental challenges, and the possibility of an AI infrastructure bubble. So is this a visionary deal or a risky overreach? For now, it is both. What is certain is that the race for AI dominance is no longer just about algorithms. It's about who controls the world's most powerful computing infrastructure. Back to you.
Right, and speaking of Larry Ellison, now Oracle shares surged following $300 billion with OpenAI. Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison briefly overtook Elon Musk as the world's richest man after this. Ellison's wealth soared $89 billion post the Oracle results. This lifted his total net worth to $383.2 billion, according to the Bloomberg Billionaires Index. However, Tesla CEO and SpaceX founder Elon Musk has regained the title of the world's richest man hours after the deal. Elon Musk's net worth stands at $384 billion now. Meanwhile, Nepal continues to simmer days after an anti-corruption stir led by Gen Zs toppled the government. Prohibitory orders and curfews continue as it finds itself in the midst of political uncertainty. Several names are doing the rounds on who should head the interim government. Close to 15,000 inmates have reportedly fled various prisons across the country. However, the Nepali army foiled several prison break attempts as well. There has been a rise in looting and arson as well. The residence of billionaire Upendra Mahato, one of Nepal's Nepal's richest, was targeted as well. On your screens, you can see several ministers and their families and their family members being airlifted by choppers as they try to escape from protesters. All right, on that note, we'll take a short break. Coming up next, new GST rates announced by the GST Council will take effect on September 22nd. Timsy Jaipuria will speak with Sanjay Mangal, Chief Commissioner of Meerut CBIC, on the rationalization of rates and the implementation on the other side. Stay tuned.